Hello, YouTube, and welcome to The Real Siberius. In this episode, I wanted to talk about, has the NBA evolved or devolved? Now, just in case you're unfamiliar with the exact definitions of these words, evolution is the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to a more complex form. De-evolution is the notion that species can revert to supposedly more primitive forms over time. Now, using those definitions, I would have to say that the NBA has devolved. It's no longer what it was, it's become a more primitive form. So, to kind of answer the question of has the NBA evolved or de evolved, I have some questions to pose to you. And I'll answer them from my point of view, but I'm just curious what you guys would think. Has the game changed for the better? No. There's a distinct lack of creativity and individuality in the league. Almost every team and game looks exactly the same. There's no difference. In 70s, 80s, and 90s, teams had distinct personalities and play styles, and you had to specifically game plan for that team. Is the game more complex or more simplified than previous eras? It's far more simplified. As I said, every team is attempting the same thing in the same way. You no longer have to game plan for an individual team because all the teams are playing the game the same way. So rather than saying, hey, this week we have the Bulls coming up, we need to make sure we focus on X, Y, and Z, it's every team plays exactly the same way, so we need to do the same thing for all of them. Is the game more exciting to watch? No. Lack of defense, creativity, and heart has stolen the soul from the game. It feels like NBA 2K. That's the best way that I can describe it. It feels like a boring video game. Do you miss the game during the off season? For me, absolutely not. Before I started this channel, I think I went 20 years without thinking about the NBA. It just didn't enter my mind because I was no longer invested, so I no longer cared. Without looking up the NBA rule, can you describe a screen, an illegal screen, a carry, and a travel? And I would say in past eras, absolutely. I could tell you exactly what the difference is. In the modern era, with the way that they call things now, no. I couldn't tell you what their definition of those are. Can you tell the difference between an assist and a pass? And again, in previous eras, absolutely. In the modern era, no. People like to say that the rules of the NBA have changed, but they haven't changed. They're exactly the same. If you bring up the NBA rule book, the rules have not changed at all. They're exactly the same. It's simply the way that they call the game now that's different, and that just creates a disconnect between what's real and what's called. And it's a huge reason of why I don't watch the modern game. Is when you call a pass an assist, that's not what it is. That's disingenuous. And so if it's a lie, you're trying to sell me on a lie. I don't want to be sold on a lie. When moving screens are considered screens, it's a lie. That's not what it is. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I just want consistency. If The way that they call the rules has changed. Change the rule book. At that point, if you do that, I can decide this is no longer a game that I'm interested in, and I can choose whether or not to watch it. But when you haven't changed the rule book, you've just changed the calls on the court, you're lying to me. You have a rule book, you're breaking those rules for individual players or for teams or for the narrative that you're trying to spin. And that's where I lose interest. It's where I lose faith. And evidently, I'm not the only one. I know very, very few people that watch the game anymore. And McZuggins brought up an excellent point in the live today about the new narrative that's coming along, that because supposedly the modern NBA is hard to watch and you have to have multiple streaming services and they've just made it too complex, which I'll agree to a certain level they have. I should just be able to watch one service and see every game that I want. But the reality is, if the product was good enough, if there was a streaming service that I could pay for that was $250 a year, like NBA Sunday Ticket used to be. I don't even know how much NFL Sunday Ticket is now, but I paid for it for 20 years, for 25 years, every single season because I wanted to watch every game. When the product was worth it, I would make the effort to find it, and I would spend the money to watch it. It's that simple. For something that I feel I benefit from, that brings some form of value to my life, I'll make the effort. I don't care if I have to search the internet for hours or days to locate the service. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult, but if it's something I want, I will seek it out. I will put in the time. And even though I am far, far, far from wealthy, in fact, I think I'm at the bottom of the food chain when it comes to my wealth or where I fit on the pay scale of the world. I'm certainly at the bottom, but I'll find a way. I'll find a way to make the money so I can enjoy the product that I want. And I have no desire. I could afford NBA Game Pass. I can afford ESPN. I can afford these services. I don't want to. There's no desire that I have to pay for that product because it doesn't offer value to me. Like I said, if they released a service that I could watch every single game from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and it was $300 a year, I'm paying it. I'll find a way because that would offer value to me. But I won't pay $10 a month or $20 a month to watch the modern NBA because I don't care. Because it has de-evolved into something I no longer have an interest in. And I know that there are people who will say, well, if you don't like it, then don't watch. Well, I've been a fan of this game for 40 years. I watched it religiously for 15. The last 25, if I'm honest, I haven't cared as much. It doesn't mean I no longer love the game. I don't like the product or the presentation of the game in this era. So I don't watch. But I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop hoping for a better product. And I will just as I hold myself accountable, hold others accountable for what they're doing to destroy the game or to lessen its value to me because I'm a fan. I wish I could add up all of the money that I have invested in the NBA, whether it be from going to live games, from whether it be watching games on TV, to whether it be buying merchandise. Over 40 years, it has to be tens of thousands of dollars that I've given them. And there was a time that I felt all of that was worth it. I don't feel that way anymore. But I hold hope that maybe they can bring a piece of that back. Will it ever be the golden age of basketball again? The reality is I doubt it. I don't think that will ever come back. And I have to accept that. Things change. I don't watch football anymore either because, again, they've lessened the value of the product to me with all of the rule changes, with all of the player empowerment, with all of the, well, quite frankly, the lack of talent. I don't have an interest in that anymore, so I don't pay for NFL Sunday Ticket anymore. But I try to hold hope for that as well. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I'd be curious to hear any of your guys' thoughts. If you made it to the end of the video, I certainly appreciate it. If you have not done so already, please like and subscribe. And as always, I want to give a shout out to the content creators that continue to inspire me. Uncommon Sense, Angry Old Hoops, Self-Researched NBA Facts, 93Z, Sports and Fitness Rants, Uncut Hoops, Scap Attack, The Basketball Show, Speam Engine, In Your Face Hoops, Eddie TV. I always appreciate your guys' content, your perspectives, your insights, and your humor. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.